Hey everyone, welcome to the video that's going to get you access to FTP, or at least to know how to use it. Now the key thing to remember about this video, this tutorial, is that you don't have to use what I'm showing you. You can use whatever program works for you. File Transfer Protocol, FTP, is something that something you can really take advantage of from any program that's designed for it. Probably the most common one that you'll find out there is called FileZilla. It's a really good program, but I've had some problems in previous classes where some internet services over in the Treasure Valley automatically block some of the ports that FileZilla uses. So FireFTP is a really great workaround for that when using Mozilla Firefox. So I'm just switching over to Firefox is the one that I teach. But if you find yourself feeling more comfortable with something like FileZilla, you are more than welcome to go ahead and use it, or any other program that can get you access to the FTP as long as it works and you're able to complete the assignments. That's all I care about. This is a means to an end. So that said, I'm just going to take you through the process for downloading Mozilla Firefox. It's very easy. Okay, I'm using Google Chrome. You could be using like Internet Explorer. You could be using like Apple Safari. That's a possibility. So there are just a few things that you want to keep an eye out for. If you're using Safari, you might want to use another program. They have a few FTP programs out there. I think one of them is called Toast. So contact me if you're using an Apple computer. All right, so let's go ahead and get this going. So you're going to head over to the cs195.creativedude.com. That's our blog for TVCC's CS195 class, and we're just going to head over to our resources tab, and we're going to download Firefox. So we're just going to hit this download it now button, and what you'll do is you'll choose to use the free download button when you're taken to this page. So when you click that, it's automatically going to start the download process. In Explorer, you may be asked if you want to save or open the file or run the file. I would just choose one that works for you. Probably run is going to be the easiest to go for. But in my case with Chrome, we're just going to double click on the Firefox setup right here, and that's just going to open it up. Now I'm not going to go all the way through this installer. Because if I go through all the way through the installer, I'll actually be installing over my version of Firefox, and I really don't want to do that. So I'm just going to show you that this is pretty much where it leaves off. It's very straightforward if you've ever installed anything before. You basically just have to hit next through the whole process. If you have any trouble with it, be sure to let me know. But I think you'll be fine. So here we go. I'm just going to cancel out, and let's go ahead and pull in my Firefox so you get a little feeling for what I've got going on here. And we need to actually install the FireFTP add-on. Now it's a little bit tricky if you go searching for it in the add-on store for FileZilla or for Firefox, because if we go in and we in this get add-ons and I search for FireFTP, we actually don't find what we're looking for, and that's a little bit frustrating. So the best way to search for this is not in this add-on store, and I'm mentioning this because some of you may be familiar with Firefox, and I don't want you to go this route. What you want to look for is we want to do a search for FireFTP, and so we're just going to head over to google.com. You can use any other form of search if you want to, no big deal. And we're just going to search for, you guessed it, FireFTP. We'll hit enter. And so that's actually going to take us to the add-ons page for FireFTP. It's a little bit nicer. Their search is not quite up to snuff yet. And so we're going to just hit that Add to Firefox button, and if you run into any other things past that, just go ahead and follow it through. You're going to kind of like installing things. You may be asked to hit next a couple of times. Not too hard. I've already got that installed. Again, I'm not going to just go through the installation process. I just kind of want to show you where everything is. Now comes the important part. Once you've got FireFTP added on to your Firefox browser, we're going to head back over to the hamburger menu. And what you're going to want to do is, well, yeah, you'll notice that it shows up right there, so you can always get to the from the hamburger menu. But what you'll want to do is hit this little customize button. Super nice. And from here, what we can do is take our little FireFTP icon inside our customize button and drag it up to a convenient place on our browser window that we can get to it easily without having to worry about clicking through a bunch of stuff and losing it. So now that we've done that, it automatically saves our setting and we're good. So you see now our little seahorse is showing up no matter where we are in Firefox, and we can always get to FireFTP. Super nice. I'm going to go ahead and click that really quick, and that gets us in, and you get just a really quick feel for what the FTP program looks like. It's kind of neat because it's so simple, but really in the end what FTP is all about is a communication between your computer and a server. That's it. It's not complicated. So all you've got to do is realize that we need to connect to the server so we can drag from our computer, which this is just a file system on our computer, or anywhere else that we may want to be. Maybe you have a network location that you want to drag from. You can do that from here. But we can access our whole computer right in here. This little area down here just shows us messages. There's just messages about what's going on, and you'll see that when we connect here in a second. And then you've got an area here that shows us the server. Very simple. So we're just going to go ahead and grab one of the one of your fellow students' accounts really quick. We're going to set it up on my set it up in here. So our first step is to click this little drop down button right above the C colon thing. This is right above the area that represents your computer. We'll click that drop down button and hit create an account. Okay. So our host, really easy, you'll use that email that I sent you. You should have an email that gives you all of your credentials. If you don't, it's going to be really important that you contact me right away. So your host is going to be ftp.jmphotodesigner.com. You can copy that right from the email. Notice that it gives us an account name by default. You can change that, that's fine. I'm just going to call it Osvaldo, because we're going to use Osvaldo's stuff. And then what you're going to do for your login, you need that full thing that looks a lot like an email address. So we're going to take it, and it's going to be your login at jmphotodesigner.com, and that's also in the email address. The other piece that we need is the password. You'll find that in the email that I sent you, of course. You'll copy and paste that in the password field. Highly recommend copying and pasting, not typing. I gave you some really tough passwords, and I'd just rather you paste them in. Now, it's important to note that you may, when you copy it, you may grab some spaces, like on the end of the password, and that'll throw the password off. So just be careful only to copy the characters that I give you. So let me just show you an example of what might happen if you were to try and copy spaces. So let's just say, and then I make a space. You see how I did that? No space, space. So I can actually see if I copy the password without a space, we're just copying all of the characters. But if I have the space copied in there, now this space is a part of what I'm copying, and it's just going to be really important that you don't have those spaces, otherwise your password won't work. And I've had that happen many times. So just remember that, and if you have some trouble, just double check what you're copying and pasting. All right, so now that we're in, one of the options I gave you was a port number. That really isn't something you should ever worry about. Port 21 is by default. And I handed that over because it throws some people off. But really, we should have everything we need to connect to this FTP account now. So we're just going to hit OK to create the account. And you see what happened? It just keeps that account created right here in this drop down. The last one I used is kept by default, and we're just going to hit connect. Now watch what happens down here. It's going to show us a bunch of activity taking place when we hit connect, because there's going to be communication between my computer and the server. So here we go. See all that? And so now we're actually connected. It's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag a file. So we can, I'm going to drag a file in so we can see what that, we can see what happens. Now it's kind of cool because we can do a drag and drop, we can do a drag and drop right into this area for the server. So we don't have to, we don't have to go find it on our computer in this interface. We can just take it from a window and drag and drop right onto the server in FileZilla here, or excuse me, FireFTP. So I'm just going to start by making a fake. Well, in fact, you know what? Let's just go grab something from a different class. Oops, wrong one. And we'll go ahead and throw in. Oh. We'll do this. Whoops, looks like I didn't have anything in there. Yeah, let's just do that. We'll throw those two things in there. There we go. So I'm just dragging them into this area right here. Okay. Important that it's on the right. And so now we get to see that there's some activity going on down here again, and now the files have been uploaded. So what's kind of cool about this is now we can head over to Osvaldo's site, which is just really cool, and we will go to, what was his site name? It was, there we go. It was. Just like so. Oh. Looks like we spelled something wrong. Oh, there we go. This is important. There we go. So look what just happened. Now what we have uploaded is available on the web. Same exact thing. The home page, our images, and the CSS. And the CSS is just, we'll talk about that more in the next couple weeks, and you'll get a lot of practice with it, so don't worry. Watch what happens. But I'll show you what happens when I delete a folder from here. It's kind of cool. No more CSS. CSS is just what controls how everything looks. We'll just refresh. Completely different. So we got rid of a key file and everything changed. In any case, I just want you to pay a really close attention to something that even I forgot just a moment ago. But I keep all of the student files are in a folder called students. Okay. You won't notice that when you log in because I've only given you access to your individual student folders. So one student can't access another student's stuff. Only you get access, and me. So what you'll notice, this is with our URL, is that we're at cs195.creativedude.com/students/your username. Just pay really close attention to remembering that. I would recommend heading over to your site and bookmarking it, and maybe just uploading something and seeing what happens. But you're welcome to give it a whirl, and you're going to learn lots and lots about using FTP and file structure, and we're going to go over that in detail, in fact. So if you have any questions about this process, just let me know. It should be pretty straightforward. Otherwise, happy FTPing.